Now, following its opening night screening at this year's first ever Los Angeles Irish Film Festival, the award-winning Irish drama Eden is now set to be released in selected cinemas across North America. From Liberation Entertainment, Eden is opening here in the United States, and for a full schedule and a full list of cinemas where you can go see Eden, visit www.edenmovie.net. Alright, the film was produced by Samson Films with funding from Bord Scanán na hÉireann, the Irish Film Board, RTE and the Broadcasting Commission of Ireland. And we are delighted to be speaking to lead actress of Eden, actress Eileen Walsh, all the way from Cork in Ireland, the film's director Declan Rex, and we even have a wonderful conversation now with the man who wrote this powerful Irish film Eden, Mr. Eugene O'Brien. This is a wonderful drama set in Eden, Derry, County Offaly. Everybody knows where Eden, Derry is, for crying out loud. And I used to have to go through Eden, Derry on my way to Rockwell College years ago as a pupil. Stuck out in Rockwell for 6 years I was. Eden, Derry was on the map, of course, on the road from Dublin to Cashel. And we used to stop off at Eden, Derry and have a bit of ice cream or a sandwich or a cup of tea. We all knew Eden, Derry, and Eden, Derry knew us.
We all knew Eden, Derry, and Eden, Derry knew us.
Oh, God. Was there anything left in the shops when the Rockwell students pulled through? I wonder. That hadn't been paid for. This is a powerful drama set in Eden, Derry, County Offaly, Ireland, hence the film's title Eden. And to find out more about this magnificent and most thought-provoking film starring some of Ireland's most noteworthy young actors, go to edenmovie.net or click the Eden film logo on the front page of radioirish.com. Now, you can all recall the independent Irish film Once winning an Academy Award in 2008 for Best Song, and this new Irish film Eden is from the producers of Once, so there are very high hopes for Eden, and we are delighted here on Radio Irish to be welcoming our special guests, Eden director Declan Rex, writer Eugene O'Brien, and leading lady of the film Eden, Cork actress Eileen Walsh.
Broadcasting 24/7 to the Irish community, radioirish.com.
Hello.
Hi Declan.
Hi Sean.
Welcome to Radio Irish. We're speaking to director Declan Rex of Eden. Declan, talk to me a bit about directing Eden. Were there any logistical difficulties to overcome during the actual shoot itself?
Logistical problems. There's always logistical problems. I suppose the biggest one, we were shooting during an Irish summer, and it happened to be the worst Irish summer, I think, on record. It rained for 46 days straight. And we were shooting for only 5 weeks, but 4 weeks of that was, we needed to get outside. So that was particularly difficult. Plus we were in the middle of the summer, and as you know, Irish summers, we have very long evenings and very little darkness, and our script called for quite a lot of nighttime. So, those sort of things, you just deal with them and get on with it. But we ended up being pretty lucky with the weather, which is amazing for Ireland.
Now, you're out there in what looks like the Bog of Allen. Is that the Bog of Allen?
It is. It would be the Bog of Allen, yeah.
Oh, lovely. Well, some beautiful and breathtaking locations in Eden, of course. The Irish countryside at its most stunning. And there's a sort of contrast, would you not say, Declan, between what can be seen in the background as the landscape when the days that you got it looking so beautifully and this sort of, terribly depressing story that's unfolding amongst your characters, Billy and Breda Farrell. Was that contrast intentional?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily that it's totally depressing what's going on between them. But yeah, they're playing out their lives against this kind of picture postcard landscape in the Midlands. Although obviously, it's a very different landscape, I think, than most people are used to seeing on screen coming from Ireland. It's not rolling hills, it's not green pastures. It's more of a kind of a western feel to it. The Midlands is very flat, and in fact, our characters end up walking up the only hill, the highest, the Croghan Hill scene where Billy and the two lads go up the hill. That's I think the highest point in the Midlands. It's only a few hundred feet up, but there's amazing views from up there. And myself and Eugene are from Offaly, which is in the Midlands, and we're keen. Eugene writes about the Midlands, and we were keen to shoot in the Midlands and to take full advantage of that landscape, because, as I said, it doesn't usually get used in film because it requires shooting on location. Most Irish films, if they're set in the countryside, they immediately book themselves into Wicklow, which is quite close to Dublin, and as a result, a lot of films, tend to look the same. So it was a conscious thing to sort of take full advantage of that landscape.
Oh, absolutely. And it's gorgeous landscape. I went to Rockwell College in Tipperary and passed through that area many's a time. I did over a 6-year period. Now, Eden comes to us, Declan, as a collaboration between yourself, playwright and scriptwriter Eugene O'Brien, and producer David Collins, who also worked with you on the award-winning TV series Pure Mule, which saw Cork-born actress Eileen Walsh play the character Teresa. Seems as if you have a sort of a close-knit team of people there, Declan. How important has teamwork been when making Eden?
Well, I think, every time you set out to make a production, you want to surround yourself with people who you're comfortable with and people who work well together. And we were very lucky on Pure Mule. We had a great team of actors, a great team behind the camera, and obviously Eugene's writing and David's producing. And when it came to shooting Eden, I was always keen for Eileen to play the part of Breda. And it just helps. I suppose every time it's useful for the actors as well as for us if they're surrounded by a lot of familiar faces. It allows them to feel more comfortable. And because we had the same director of photography, the same production designer, same sound guy. I think I've worked with a lot of the crew people before. I've worked with a good deal of the actors before. I think once you find people that you work well with, I don't see any reason to necessarily go out of your way to find other people. If you're comfortable and you establish a good shorthand with people. Because these things, particularly low budget films, they're shot on a very tight schedule. So any kind of shorthand that you can establish with the crew and with the cast that speeds things up a bit and makes the whole experience more enjoyable for everybody is a good thing.
Now, you've got what seems to me to be a very unique working relationship with writer Eugene O'Brien, because, you've worked with him in the past and you're working with him again in Eden. How does a director steer that ship, if you will, with the writer's intentions? How do you ensure that Eugene O'Brien's intentions are brought to the big screen as best you can?
Well, it's just a lot of conversation, I suppose. In the case of Eden, I'd read the play about 7 or 8 years ago before it had been produced. Eugene had shown me a copy of the manuscript, and I loved the whole idea of it and thought we could make it into a film. The central thing, or the one thing that or the feeling that you take away from reading the play or from seeing the play, I suppose it was just our job to make sure that we captured that in the film. You can't compare the play to the film. There's such different animals, but I think I just wanted to make sure that we stayed true to the play. I worked very closely with Eugene on the script, and David Collins, our producer, worked we all worked together to make the play as visual as possible, because the play itself is actually 2 monologues, Billy and Breda on stage, and they just tell us about what they're thinking. So it was a big challenge for us to take it out of that inner monologue and to create a whole visual way of telling the story. We just get on. We had worked on Pure Mule together as well, and we just I think I'm very lucky to have found a writer that we just kind of click.
That's fantastic. As I said, yeah, it is a kind of a unique situation there. It has happened in the past in the history of film and cinematography, of course, where great directors and great writers were brought together somehow. Now, you shot the entire film, Declan, on location, as we said, in Ireland, with stunning locations in County Offaly. And indeed, both yourself and writer Eugene O'Brien are from County Offaly, as you mentioned earlier. Now, so too is Taoiseach Brian Cowan, I believe. Now,
from my hometown of Clara, yeah.
Oh, he is, yes, indeed. Clara there, Brian Cowan Country.